Chosen one, you just turned their attempt at character assassination into a moment where they became the joke themselves, a clown exposed mid-performance. They feel confident for now. That arrogance is the setup. A humbling moment is approaching, inevitable and precise. You didn't fight back. You let truth do comedy. You were meant to lose your foundations, your security, your sense of home. This person wanted your total ruin, not just your embarrassment, not just your hurt feelings. They wanted your complete destruction. That's the intensity we're dealing with here. That's the level of hatred someone has been carrying for you in their chest. And there's a connection to your past here. Someone from before who matters. Whoever pops into your mind right now, you need to trust that. Your intuition is confirming what you already suspected deep down. Deceit has been hidden because this person feared confrontation. Being called out was something they dreaded. They wanted to avoid the smoke at all costs. But smoke doesn't just disappear into nothing. It rises, it spreads, it signals that there's fire somewhere. And people are starting to smell it now. People are starting to see it now. People are starting to follow it back to the source now. This person may actually be dealing with something chronic in their life, something that goes beyond surface-level issues. And there's a massive comparison happening inside their mind. They look at you and they measure themselves against you. They see what you're doing, and they can't stop comparing themselves to you. And they come up short every single time. That comparison eats away at them. It consumes their thoughts. It drives them to the edge of madness. There are issues with how this person communicates. Either you're being thought about constantly in their mind, or you're being talked about constantly in their conversations. Maybe both are happening simultaneously, but it's strategic in nature. This person isn't openly bad-mouthing you, where everyone can hear them clearly. Instead, they're placing seeds of doubt in different people's minds. Little comments dropped here and there, small suggestions planted carefully, subtle implications woven into conversations. And then those people talk to each other about what they heard. Oh, I heard that too. And suddenly it seems like multiple independent sources are saying the same thing about you. But it all traces back to one source, one jealous, obsessed source who's been orchestrating the whole thing like a puppet master. This person is healing from rejection. They feel rejected by you. They feel threatened by you. Something about you triggers deep insecurity in them that they refuse to face head-on. So instead of doing the inner work that would heal them, they decided to tear you down. That's what weakness does. It tries to dim your light instead of working on building its own. And there's something personal about this attack. Something specific and targeted. This isn't random jealousy spreading in all directions. This is targeted hatred, motivated by something painful inside them that they won't acknowledge or process. There may be a history of this behavior in their past, similar things they've done before that caused them problems. History is repeating itself in their life. They're playing the same destructive game they played before, but this time the consequences will be different. This time there's no talking their way out of it. This time the truth is going to land on them with full force. Self-hatred exists in this person that's being projected onto you. Stalker vibes are radiating from their behavior. There might literally be a file somewhere with your pictures in it, screenshots of your work saved meticulously, things you've said documented carefully, things you've created catalogued obsessively. This is documented obsession. This is evidence of mental instability. And someone is going to see this file eventually. Someone is going to discover just how deep the fixation goes. Someone is going to witness the crazy and be unable to unsee it. The past connection is disturbed by how well you're doing in life, by how successful you've become, especially spiritually. Your gifts are sharp and clear, and that's because you've been walking your path with intention. You've been listening to divine guidance, speaking to you. You've been doing the work consistently, growing, learning, expanding. becoming more authentic with each passing day. That's helped you access deeper spiritual abilities. Your mission is clearer than it's ever been. Your purpose is stronger than ever, and the plotter can only watch from outside the window with burning envy. Meanwhile, everything is being seen as competition in their twisted mind. This person is more intuitive than me. This person is making more money than me. This person is more attractive than me. It's all comparison, all jealousy, all insecurity eating away at them. There may have even been spiritual manipulation attempted on your past connection, attempts to capture them in the first place, attempts to maintain control over them. But that person has broken free from the manipulation. They're unhappy where they've landed. Court battles are brewing on the horizon. Custody concerns are rising to the surface. And whatever information is being held onto like some smoking gun against you, it's not what they think it is. It just shows how obsessed and unhinged the holder truly is. And that definitely cannot come out into the open. True colors are being shown to everyone now. They're being absolutely revealed. There's a community of people involved in this situation. Maybe they enjoyed gossiping as entertainment. Maybe they were insecure themselves and found comfort in tearing others down. So ganging up happened against you. Online harassment was coordinated. Group attacks were planned. But that got shut down hard. Something about blocking happened that changed everything. Accounts that seemed suspicious to you got blocked. You may have blocked a massive network of fake profiles without fully realizing it was a coordinated effort against you. But your spirit knew the truth. Your higher self recognized the threat clearly and protected you. You cut off their information supply. You blinded the watchers right when they thought their observation was complete. And that created a reaction in them. It's like when you remove a toxic person's narcissistic supply and spiraling begins immediately. Recognition wasn't being given to your healing journey by these people, or to anyone else's journey for that matter. And people have turned on the schemer now. The schemer is becoming a joke in their circles, being seen as phony and fake, as a trickster and manipulator, as someone who paints fairy tales instead of dealing with reality. And whatever information exists in that file has been seen by someone. Someone discovered it somehow. Someone witnessed the effort that was put into smearing your name. Someone recognized it for what it truly is, a smear campaign born from childish jealousy and adult obsession. That's why the energy around this person is reversed and chaotic. Because an emotionally mature person doesn't do things like this. An emotionally intelligent person doesn't operate like this in the world. This person is not regulated emotionally, not mature psychologically, not evolved spiritually, and people around them are waking up to that reality. People who don't want legal trouble for something that's been planned, because it feels like more than just talking badly about someone. It's speaking with malicious intention, setting the scene before the play begins, creating a narrative in advance, so when the strike comes the audience is already primed to believe a false version of events. There may have been removal from living situations for this person. Group home dynamics are possibly involved. They were living with people who are trying to change their ways for the better, people who want better futures for themselves. And those people started seeing the manipulation clearly. What was being planned against you became obvious, and that information is leaking somehow, getting back to your past connection through various channels. People are trying to keep it quiet, but truth spreads like water. Truth always spreads. It moves like water, finding cracks in every dam that's built to contain it. If you felt the truth in these words, hype this video so more chosen ones like you can see it. Manipulative energy exists in this person. Conniving energy thrives in their actions. Using people as tools is their mode of operation, and rejection is being received by them now from all directions. They're being rejected from the circle that was built. They were rejected by you long ago. They're being rejected by the community now. They're possibly being rejected from family situations even. There's something about them trying to whip people into a frenzy emotionally, getting them emotionally charged up, creating mob mentality against you. False witness statements were being sought against you. They were trying to make people believe they saw things that never actually happened. You know how that manipulation works. Get enough people saying the same lie repeatedly, and it starts to sound like truth to observers. Get multiple people nodding along in agreement, and suddenly the one person who knows reality starts doubting themselves. That's what was being created against you. Mass false testimony, a chorus of lies sung so loudly that truth couldn't be heard over the noise. But here's what happened instead. The people being recruited for this saw through it clearly. They turned their backs on the schemer. Unhappiness exists because rejection from that circle hurts deeply. Someone is genuinely trying to get their life together. Maybe it's your past connection trying. Maybe it's for children involved, for themselves, for something meaningful. But interest in this drama doesn't exist in them anymore. Interest in shutting down the schemer does exist, though, and the schemer has become the butt of the joke that was meant for you. There's jealousy present too, because the past connection might miss you. They might have expressed that verbally, maybe in anger directed at the current person. I miss being with my last partner because they didn't act like you do, and that's creating a firestorm of emotions. Endings are happening, loss is being felt, breakdown is occurring, anger exists at how their family structure is crumbling, how things are ending badly, and blame is being placed on you even though you have nothing to do with it, beyond being a name that gets mentioned in heated arguments. There's something about employment that wasn't given to this person. Opportunities are being questioned. A group of people refuse to work with the schemer because the past is questionable and concerning. People literally responded with no thank you to collaboration offers, and there's this energy of people trying to do better with their lives, trying to stay away from toxic patterns that held them back, trying to remove bad influences from their circles, but the schemer is stuck to them like glue, and peeling off is being attempted by everyone. Selfishness exists in this person's character. Stubborn energy persists in their behavior. Arrogance fills the space around them. Pride and ego dominate their decision-making. There may be a child situation involved in all of this, and hopelessness is present in their emotional state. Bitterness colors their perspective. Anger drives their actions. Salt runs through their veins. Depression weighs them down. There's even concerning energy around self-harm ideation in their thoughts. A dark place is being occupied mentally and emotionally, and longing mixed with hopelessness creates a toxic combination. Being trapped in their own making is the harsh reality they face. This file that exists somewhere, something about security that wasn't maintained properly, something was made public accidentally, something stupid was done that made the obsession discoverable to others, and you're going to find this information somehow, or you're going to be shown it by someone, and you're going to take an action that makes the schemer the butt of the joke. You're not even doing it for embarrassment purposes. You're just showing people, look at this situation that's been happening, and people are going to look at it and respond with, we're so glad we walked away from you, we're so glad we didn't work with you. We're trying to improve ourselves, and you're sitting in your own pit of chaos. You have protection preventing harm from reaching you. Divine intervention is protecting you from any storm being sent your way, any legal manipulation being attempted, any scheme being hatched. You're covered by forces beyond physical understanding. You're guarded by energies that don't sleep. You're untouchable in ways that matter most. People around the schemer feel trapped by the oppressive energy. They feel smothered and suffocated. There's clarity coming through for an entire community about what was being done to you and why it was being done. Before, there were attempts by the schemer to feel justified in their actions. Creating false testimony seemed reasonable to them. You saw that right. You saw what happened. Getting people to nod along in agreement, even when nothing was actually witnessed by them. But people are waking up now to the manipulation, coming online to reality, realizing manipulation occurred, and they were pawns in someone else's game. You stayed in your lane consistently. You kept working on yourself diligently. You kept developing your gifts intentionally. You kept showing up authentic every single day. While energy was being spent by them trying to tear you down, you were building something they couldn't touch. You were elevating to frequencies that couldn't be accessed by lower vibrations. Your spiritual growth became your greatest protection, not because you were actively defending yourself, but because you were so focused on your purpose that attacks couldn't land on you properly. You trusted your intuition when it spoke to you. When something felt off in your gut, you paid attention to it. When accounts seemed suspicious to your inner knowing, you blocked them. When energy felt wrong to your spirit, you created boundaries immediately. You blocked an entire network without even fully realizing coordination existed against you. But your spirit knew the truth clearly. Your higher self recognized the threat instantly and protected you. You cut off their information supply completely. You blinded the watchers right when they thought they were seeing everything you were doing. You also spoke truth at key moments in time, maybe in passing conversation, maybe in anger and frustration, just a comment that seemed insignificant. But you said something that contained crucial information, something that contradicted the entire false narrative they built, something that proves your innocence clearly and exposes their lies brutally. And that truth is circulating now through networks, creating cracks in foundations of deception they built. The schemer is watching their reputation dissolve in real time right before their eyes. The exact thing that was meant for you is happening to them instead. They're becoming the joke in their circles, the cautionary tale people whisper about, the example everyone points to about what jealousy does to a person. The connection to your past is seeing this clearly now. The fog that clouded their judgment has lifted. They're realizing manipulation occurred. They're remembering who you actually were to them. There's probably regret sitting heavy in their chest, longing for what could have been, recognition of what was lost through their choices. And the jealous person has to watch all of that unfold, has to hear your name spoken with respect and fondness, has to witness the person they tried to turn against you actually defending you instead. Legal issues are mounting in their life. Relationship problems are escalating rapidly. Housing situations are becoming unstable and uncertain. Money problems are surfacing that can't be ignored. Everything seems to be falling apart at once in their world, and attempts are being made to blame you for all of it. They're telling themselves that if the takedown of you had just succeeded, everything would be fine in their life. But that's not how karma works in this universe. You plant poison in the ground and you don't get flowers growing. You send darkness out into the world and you don't get light returning to you. You attack a chosen one walking in purpose, and you don't walk away unscathed from that choice. That file that was being kept secretly, it's been seen by someone now. Someone accessed it accidentally, or intentionally, or through divine orchestration, but someone saw the depth of stalking behavior documented. The screenshots saved meticulously, the notes written obsessively, the obsession documented in excruciating detail. And when that person saw it, unseeing became impossible. Rationalization became impossible. Recognition of what it actually is became crystal clear. Evidence of someone completely unhinged. Proof of obsession that crosses every line of normalcy. Documentation of stalking behavior that would alarm anyone, and sharing happened. Others were shown the evidence. Truth was allowed to speak for itself without embellishment. Now the worst nightmare is manifesting in their reality. The evidence they thought they were gathering against you is being used as evidence of their own instability. Every screenshot they took proves stalking occurred. Every note they wrote shows obsession existed. Every entry in that file demonstrates jealousy and hatred. They built their own case against themselves. They documented their own crimes meticulously. They created the evidence that destroys them now. The community that was gossiping about you based on lies is now gossiping about the schema based on truth. The whisper network they tried to use as a weapon against you now works against them. The reputation they tried to destroy was yours, but the one actually getting destroyed belongs to them. Every weapon they fashioned with care has turned around and pierced them instead. While all this chaos is happening to the schema, let's talk about what's happening with you. You're thriving in your life. You're working on meaningful projects. You're developing valuable skills. You're helping people who need it. You're creating value in the world. You're being the person you were born to be. Your gifts are growing stronger daily. Your intuition is sharper than it's ever been. Your purpose is clearer than ever before. You're accessing levels of awareness and ability that can only be observed from the outside with envy burning. You're connecting deeper with your higher self. You're receiving divine downloads and guidance. You're understanding your mission with increasing clarity. Every level you reach makes their attack seem smaller in the rearview mirror of your journey. There's a community forming around you now, real people who see you for who you really are. Some of them were initially influenced by the lies being spread, but they watched you operate. They got to know you personally. They saw the disconnect between what was said about you and who you actually are, and now they're your biggest supporters and defenders. They're spreading real truth about you. They're defending your name in rooms you're not even in. You didn't have to convince them of anything. Your authentic presence did all the convincing necessary. Your energy spoke louder than words could. Your actions demonstrated your character more powerfully than any defense speech could. You just had to be yourself, consistently, authentically, unapologetically, and the right people recognized the real you immediately. Look, you already know the attacks weren't random, and if you're paying attention, you can feel it. Their walls are closing in, so let's talk about what we're doing about it. That's why I built Destiny Engine. It generates personalized sequences that help you rewire betrayal into transcendence, turn isolation into sacred power, and transform their downfall into your rise. We are using the Dark Elite's own weapons against them, taking their declassified consciousness technology that programmed competition and scarcity and repurposing it to serve cooperative intelligence. The beauty is, you don't even have to lift a finger. You put on the headphones, press play, and your subconscious is rewired while your enemies collapse under the weight of their own lies. This is why I created it in the beginning, so everything they did to break you becomes fuel for your purpose. The collective upgrade is underway. Start your Destiny Engine for $1 today and watch divine justice accelerate in your life. Link in the description. Think about the psychology of someone who spends extensive amounts of time scrolling through your content obsessively, hours analyzing your words for hidden meanings, time studying your pictures for evidence, energy dissecting your work for ammunition. They probably told themselves it was research they were conducting, evidence gathering for a case, building something substantial, but what was really happening was feeding an addiction they couldn't control, an obsession that consumed them. And the sickest part, there was probably a rush they got from it, a hit of something toxic that felt like power in the moment, but was really just poison destroying them from within. While the schemer was busy cataloging every detail of your life, you were busy actually living that life fully. While they were taking screenshots of your content, you were taking action in reality. While they were building files about you, you were building your actual future. Time and energy were invested by them into tearing you down. You invested that same resource into building yourself up, and now look at the results playing out. You're elevated to new heights. They're exposed and humiliated. You're thriving in purpose. They're spiraling in chaos. You're protected by divine forces. They're paranoid about consequences coming. The irony of this situation is thick enough to cut with a knife. The schemer wanted people to see you as obsessive and unstable, as someone who couldn't let things go and move forward. But their own behavior reveals who really fits that description perfectly. They wanted people to see you as dishonest and manipulative, as someone who plays games with people's perceptions. But the smear campaign they orchestrated shows who really operates that way. Every accusation they made was actually a confession of their own behavior. Every attack they launched was actually a mirror reflecting them. Every lie they told was actually a self-portrait they were painting. When you spend that much time and energy focused on someone else's life, you're not spending it focused on your own growth. You're not growing as a person. You're not healing your wounds. You're not building your future. You're stagnant in the same place, stuck in the same patterns, rotting from the inside out while pretending to be concerned about someone else's character. That's not strategy or intelligence. That's self-destruction, disguised as warfare. Let me break down the specific ways this backfired that weren't anticipated by them. First, there's the credibility issue that emerged. When someone is constantly talking about another person, others start to wonder why. Why the intense investment? Why do they care so much? Why is this person living rent-free in their head all the time? And the more they talked about you, the more obvious it became to observers. This wasn't about warning people for their protection. This wasn't about concern for anyone's well-being. This was about jealousy. Pure, unfiltered jealousy that couldn't be hidden no matter how they tried to dress it up in concern. Second, there's the pattern recognition that people developed. People aren't stupid observers. When someone is always playing the victim in every situation, always has drama following them everywhere, always has an enemy they're warning you about, always has someone they're protecting you from, eventually people connect the dots clearly. They realize the common denominator in all that chaos is the person creating it. So while the schemer thought they were turning people against you, a pattern of their own behavior was actually being revealed that made them less trustworthy to everyone. Third, there's the contrast effect that worked in your favor. The more lies they told about you, the more obvious the truth became when people actually met you in person. It's like when someone hypes up a movie as terrible and unwatchable, and then you watch it and it's actually good and enjoyable. You appreciate it more because your expectations were lowered by what you heard. People expected you to be what they were told by the schemer, and when you weren't that at all, when you were actually kind or talented or genuine, the contrast made you shine even brighter in their eyes. They accidentally created a perfect setup for you to exceed expectations every single time someone met you. Fourth, there's the investigation effect that destroyed them. When you accuse someone of something serious, people don't just take your word for it blindly. They investigate the claims. They don't just accept it as fact. They look into it carefully. They ask questions to verify. They seek confirmation. And when they start investigating claims about someone and nothing adds up logically, when the evidence doesn't match the accusation being made, when the timeline doesn't make sense at all, they don't just dismiss the accusation and move on. They start investigating the accuser instead. They examine motives. They check history. They question credibility. And that's when everything falls apart for the liar. The schemer triggered an investigation of themselves without realizing it. They thought they were prosecuting you in the court of public opinion, but they actually put themselves on trial. Every inconsistency in their story became evidence against them. Every exaggeration they made became a provable lie. Every half-truth they told became full deception. And people who initially believed them started feeling manipulated by the lies, started feeling used as pawns, started feeling like tools in someone else's sick game. And nobody likes feeling like a pawn being moved around a chessboard. Fifth, there's the energy recognition that people experienced. You can lie with your words all day long, but you can't lie with your energy. People feel things even when they can't articulate them clearly. They felt your peace radiating. They felt your authenticity in interactions. They felt your genuine nature coming through. And they felt the schemer's chaos surrounding them. They felt desperation emanating. They felt toxicity poisoning the air. And energy doesn't lie to people. The perfect story can be crafted with words, But if your energy is off, people sense it, instinctively, maybe not consciously at first, but it sits uncomfortably in their gut, creates doubt in their mind, makes questioning happen naturally, and eventually that doubt becomes clarity. Sixth, there's the timeline factor that exposed everything. Lies have expiration dates built into them. Truth doesn't expire or change. The schemer's lies had details that didn't hold up over time, events that couldn't have happened as they described, stories that changed depending on who was listening, but your truth stayed consistent through everything. Your character remained constant over time. Your behavior didn't shift based on who was watching, and over time that consistency spoke louder than any defense you could have possibly mounted. One final desperate move is coming from the schemer, an attempt to play what they think is a trump card. They're going to reveal information they've been hoarding as leverage. They're going to show their hand thinking it's a royal flush when it's actually nothing of value. And when that happens, it's going to be the final nail in their own coffin, because that information they thought was so damaging to you is actually going to demonstrate the depth of their obsession. It's going to show everyone exactly how unhinged their behavior has been all along. It's going to be undeniable proof that you were never the problem in this situation. Think of spending extensive amounts of time building a case against someone, only to have that case become the primary evidence against yourself. That's exactly what's happening here. They thought they were being clever and strategic. They thought they were gathering ammunition to destroy you. But really, they were creating a detailed paper trail of their own mental instability. They were documenting their own descent into obsession meticulously. They were building their own prison brick by brick. Truth is spreading faster than they have any ability to contain it. People are connecting dots they didn't even know existed. Stories are being shared between people. Experiences are being compared. A pattern is emerging that paints a very clear picture of who this person really is. Not the picture they desired to present, not the reputation they wanted to have, the ugly truth they tried so desperately hard to hide from everyone. Your name is being cleared without you having to clear it actively. Your character is being defended without you having to defend it yourself. Your innocence is being proven without you having to prove it to anyone. The divine is handling your complete vindication while you focus on your elevation. That's the power of walking aligned with purpose. That's the blessing of staying true to who you are. That's what happens when you trust the process and let God fight your battles for you. The lesson here is universal and eternal. You cannot win battles against someone the divine is actively protecting. You cannot succeed in plots against someone walking in their purpose. You cannot defeat someone whose time has come. The universe doesn't work that way. Source doesn't allow it. Ancestors don't permit it. Divine protection is real, and it's absolute. So where does this leave you, chosen one? Exactly where you've always been meant to be, standing firmly in your truth, walking confidently in your power, aligned perfectly with your purpose, protected by forces beyond the physical realm, surrounded by people who see you clearly for who you are, moving forward with confidence that comes from knowing you're on the right path. This attack on your character was never going to work, because your character isn't something that can be assassinated by lies. Your character is demonstrated through your consistent actions, through your energy that radiates, through your impact on others, through your consistency over time, through your authenticity in all situations. Everyone who actually knows you sees that clearly. Everyone who encounters the real you immediately recognizes the disconnect between rumors and reality. The lies couldn't stick to you because truth is what you embody, and truth has a resonance that people feel deep in their bones. Let this experience confirm that you are divinely protected. Let this prove that divine justice is real and active. Let this be evidence that you don't have to fight every battle, because some battles get fought and won on your behalf by forces you can't see. Let this assure you that staying aligned with your purpose is the greatest protection available to you. Let this validate that your instincts about people were absolutely correct all along. You turned someone's assassination attempt into their own public humiliation without even trying hard. That's not luck or coincidence. That's not something you had to orchestrate or plan. That's divine intervention working on your behalf. That's spiritual protection surrounding you. That's what happens when you're walking the exact path you were born to walk. The universe doesn't play games about its chosen ones. Source doesn't allow attacks on those doing divine work to ultimately succeed. Take a deep breath right now and let this settle into your spirit. You won this battle decisively, not by fighting back aggressively, not by defending yourself constantly, not by arguing or pleading or begging people to believe you. You won by simply being who you are, by staying true to yourself, by trusting the process unfolding, by remaining aligned with your higher self, by refusing to allow their darkness to create darkness in you, by being untouchable in your authentic nature, and watching them become the punchline of the joke they tried to make about you. That's just the cherry on top of your complete vindication. That's just the visible manifestation of spiritual law in action. That's just the universe showing you once again that you are exactly who you think you are, chosen, protected, destined for greatness, unstoppable in your purpose. More revelations are still coming to light. More consequences are still unfolding for them. More truths are still being uncovered by people. But the ending is already written in stone. The verdict is already in and final. Justice is being served on a divine timeline. And you get to watch it all unfold while continuing to thrive in your purpose. That's the power of divine timing working perfectly. That's the beauty of spiritual protection surrounding you. That's the reality of walking aligned with your highest calling. You just made someone the complete butt of the joke when attempts were made to assassinate your character. And the universe is making sure everyone sees the punchline clearly. Everyone understands the lesson being taught. Everyone witnesses what happens when someone foolishly comes for a chosen one. Someone really put their foot in it at the beginning of this entire experience, and now at the end, that same person is completely stuck in it, drowning in the very trap they carefully set for you, while you stand on solid ground, protected by forces they can't see, elevated to heights they can't reach, victorious in ways they can't comprehend, not because you fought them with their own weapons, but because you stayed true to yourself through it all. And that chosen one is all you ever needed to do to win completely.